Hello, everyone. Clearly there were some technical difficulties there. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you so much, Punar. So hello, I am Chan. I am the head of the international office here at Sabanci University. Thank you so much for attending this session, our most likely last marketing webinar. We'll go through our presentation as quickly as we can, since we're somewhat at the end of the year, so a lot of people might already be aware of some of the details. After that, we'll just answer any questions that you guys might have on the Q&A. You can write your questions using the chat function at the bottom of your screens. Before we get started, let me just take a moment to introduce the team. Hassan, I guess we can start with you.
Hi everyone, welcome everyone. So hope you enjoy the meeting, our latest webinar. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask on chat bar. Hope you find all your answers in this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pınar, I suppose.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Pınar Alıç, and I'm mainly responsible from Central Asia region. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask us. Accordingly, we can answer all your questions at the end of our presentation. Thank you.
And Alican is here, I think, but I believe Alican doesn't
Yeah.
have host.
Yeah, Hassan, can you make him host, co-host?
There we go.
Yes, Arjan.
Hello everyone. Yes, thank you so much. So this is Alican. I am mostly responsible for legal procedures with my colleague Miss Berna. She is not able to join this session, but after you come to the university, after you complete your admission, you will be seeing us a lot for all of your legal procedures. We will be helping and guiding you till you graduate. Hopefully it will be a really helpful session for you. If you do have any questions, you can ask from our Q&A session, Q&A tab. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, I believe this is it for the team at the moment. So we'll just get going with the presentation. Once again, any questions that you guys have, you can use the chat function. At the end, we'll do a short Q&A as well to get through everything. So let's get going without wasting much time. So Sabancı University, obviously, we're located in Turkey, one of the largest economies in the world, one of the largest economies in Asia, with a population of around 85 million. Lots of different climates, lots of awesome food, obviously a lot of history, quite affordable in many ways. And Istanbul, obviously, again, one of the most populated cities in the world. And in Europe, it's a cultural and financial hub, a transportation hub these days, thanks to Turkish Airlines providing easy, flight access from practically all over the globe. Lots and lots of universities, truly a city of universities, and a lot of international students, again, in the last couple of years. Sabancı is located somewhat outside the city center. As you can see on your screens, we are a little bit far away from the hustle and bustle, let's say, of city life in Istanbul. But we'll talk about the campus and its location later on. We can continue. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Sabancı University is part of the Sabancı, let's say, community. Sabancı University gets its name from one of the wealthiest families in the country, and they have a lot of business connections as well. Obviously, you can see some of the companies, some of the businesses that they're involved in. They're very predominant in Turkey in a lot of fields. This, of course, benefits us in some ways, obviously recognition and funding, but also on top of that, a lot of our graduates, our alumni have a chance to, find employment in top institutions in the country, benefit from this network during their internship searches and so on. So it's a big benefit for us to be part of this, larger family, let's say. Okay, so some facts and figures. So we're currently celebrating our 25th year. The university's first academic year was 1999, and this year we're in the 2024-2025 academic year, of course. We're a private university. It's called a foundation university in Turkey, non-profit, basically. So not a private university in that sense, but a non-profit foundation university, but not a state university, basically. All of our programs are in English. We have around 5,000 students, of which around 13, 14, 15% of them are international, changes from year to year. We have a lot of partnerships with universities across the world of similar ranking levels, which we'll get to in a second. We have a very good student-to-faculty ratio, small classrooms that allow much more direct education, much more impactful education, increasing number of graduates, obviously. One of the highest employment rates of all universities in Turkey at around 95%. We are the second highest, the university has the second highest employment rate. So that is something that we are quite proud of. And of course, lots of scholarships and so on we'll talk to after. You can see the faculties and programs that we have available on your screen at the moment. We have 3 faculties, engineering and natural sciences, arts and social sciences, and then the business school. There are 12 programs total across these 3 faculties. And you can see our minor programs on the right side as well of the screen. So it's possible to do double majors among all combinations of these programs. So on the engineering side, for example, with computer science, you can do a double major with management, with molecular biology, with psychology, etc. Or you can also do the minor programs that are listed on the right side. All of these are without any extra tuition, any extra cost. They do, of course, have certain academic requirements because obviously it's a challenging thing to do these double majors and minors, but it's very, very, available. And we have a different educational model in Sabancı University. So alongside that, it allows a lot of flexibility. So Sabancı is the only university in Turkey that allows students to choose their major after they start the program, start the university. So you don't actually choose your program when you're applying at Sabancı. You choose your program after you have begun your studies. So in the first year, every single student takes the same courses in the program that we call the Foundation Development Program. These courses, I believe we should have a slide about this as well. Here we go. These courses range from a variety of different topics. They are there to provide you a good foundation to build upon when you're choosing the program that you want to study. So they encompass a lot of different aspects of human life, basically, whether it be natural sciences, whether it be world history, whether it be language. There's extra programs as well available, such as a civic involvement project, which is a volunteering type of class that teaches that kind of social responsibility, how to get involved in those kinds of, that aspect of life again. So all of this is there to provide you a way of having a decent foundation to then choose the program that you want. And you make this program choice at the end of your first year or at the beginning, or at the end, either at the beginning of your second year or at the end of your second year, let me put it that way. And we even give you chances to sort of try different programs basically during the education. So, for example, if you want to study economics and you change your mind and you decide that you want to study computer science instead, for example, you can do that. So there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of unique paths that you can create, and we allow a lot of choice in our system basically. You can go on to the rankings. So we talked about rankings a little bit in passing. We are one of the highest ranking universities in the country in certain ranking websites. We are the highest ranking university in the country. So the last rankings that were announced by Times Higher Education were number one in Turkey, basically. Among the world's best small universities, we're number one. Among universities in Asia, we are the 76th best university in Asia. In QS, we're in the top 525, top 526. So, when we talk about rankings, there are a lot of, ways of, let's say, signifying how good the university is, what, the impact of our education, the impact of research that Sabancı University does. And, these rankings are basically just there to prove it. And you can also see our subject rankings. This is important because it shows one important thing, which is, oftentimes students think that universities specialize in certain fields. They're good in technology, they're good in engineering, they're good in science, they're good in social sciences, that kind of thing. For Sabancı, since we are a small university, as we said earlier, around 5,000 students, only 12 programs, almost all of our programs are ranked very, very high, regardless of the faculty that they're in. So you can see across the board, like our engineering faculty is ranked 250 to 300 in the world, social sciences 176 to 200, business 300 to 400. These are all obviously very, very high rankings, especially when Turkey is in, consideration. So any program that you choose, you'll be able to get an education that is actually quite impactful, which makes this program choice system that we mentioned earlier meaningful. Some alumni information. So obviously, a lot of our alumni continue on to, work in top institutions across the world. So you can see some data, some companies on your screens at the moment. At the bottom left, you can see, more specific information as well. So when we talk about Google, as you can see, for example, we're not talking about like, small center in Istanbul. We're talking about like students that actually work in Silicon Valley, work in the, headquarters in Ireland and so on. So, there's a lot of alumni that go on to really great heights, and this also carries into postgraduate opportunities, so master's programs and so on. So if you can jump to the next slide. Did we remove that one maybe? Well, anyway, I'll sort of explain it myself in that case. As much as our alumni go to top institutions when it comes to professional companies, the same also applies to universities. So, a lot of our alumni go to, top universities across the world, Stanford, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, and so on. And this is something that we quite value, this idea of using the university as a stepping stone to reach even greater heights one day. And that owes a lot, of course, to the university's recognition, connections, research impact, and so on. You can see on the screen at the moment, some of the larger, in the world where our alumni go to. Obviously, there's a lot of alumni that stay in Turkey, because obviously we're a Turkish university, but there's also an increasing number that goes to North America, Europe, and Asia, China, Japan, Korea, and so on and so forth. And we do keep a track of our alumni as much as we can to, better impact also our students' lives. Research is a very big part of life at Sabancı. Laboratories, research centers, and so on. Sabancı University is a research university in essence. So even during your education period, you will be involved in some research in one way or another. Most likely, so you might have some of your classes in some of these laboratories and research centers, or your professors will almost always be people who are affiliated with these places. And we have a lot of different projects, programs that allow undergraduates, even students, to have a hand, have a touch into research that goes on into the university. So anybody who's interested in, that kind of a little bit more impactful research or like education, let's say in a university, Sabancı University provides a lot of facilities when it comes to that. Now we can move on. And one of the good examples of this is our Nanotechnology Research and Application Center. That is one of 4 investments of its kind in Turkey, one of the 4 biggest research centers in Turkey. This one is located straight on our campus. It's owned both by the Turkish state and Sabancı University itself. It's a very, very large investment, around $35 million. It does incredibly cutting-edge research. We, for example, had a research project with Harvard Medical School that ended a couple of years ago that was doing active cancer research. We, do a lot of research with regards to molecular biology, health sciences, but also other, defense applications, space applications, and so on and so forth, energy, agricultural research, etc. So it's a very, very major center of research in the country. There are many of these that are parts of Sabancı University, but this one is perhaps the most, let's say, glamorous. And as I said, right on our campus. So really helps to sort of signify the research impact of the university. Exchange programs. So for those of you who might not be aware what they are, basically exchange is when you spend 1 to 2 terms usually of your education period at a partner university. So you don't pay anything extra. You basically go to one of these universities and you take the same program there. This doesn't, this counts as one of your education years at Sabancı University, so it doesn't extend your education. We have partners, around 300 partners all over the world, wherever education is, actually good. You can sort of look at it that way. We have partners in the US and UK and Canada and, China, Japan, Korea, Australia, Brazil, South Africa, everywhere in Europe and so on. And we fund these, basically all of these exchange opportunities are funded by the university. So plane tickets, day-to-day expenses, the university covers these costs, and our students are able to, for example, while studying at Sabancı, spend a year in the University of Manchester, spend a year in Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and study their program there. So get an even better, more impactful education, more international education during their education period. And this doubles with internships as well. We provide also similar opportunities to students that have that are looking for internships. We, of course, help with internships within the country, but also you can use internships, do internships in this kind of like international way too, through the exchange system. And the university has its career office that is, quite effective in helping students find employment, helping students keep in touch after they graduate. So we really do care a lot about the alumni connection as well. The graduate program that we sort of talked about earlier. We can skip this one, I guess, for now. So campus life. Yeah. Campus life at Sabancı University. So we have, as we talked about before, we have a campus outside the city center. It's one of the greenest campuses in the city. It's a pretty large campus, especially when you consider the student population. It is a very, very big campus. You can see a picture of our lake. Our sports center is on the right side. Our performing and art center is on the left side behind the lake. Those 2 buildings are Sabancı Universities. There's a lot of different sports teams. There's a lot of different events per year. Lots of clubs in increasing number. There's a lot of different activities for, ice breaking and for students to, get involved in the social life of the university. So it's a quite warm and, welcoming environment as well. And we can sort of move on. And campus facilities, of course, there's a lot of amenities that you would expect for any university to have. So, we have a very, very large library. You can see our cafeteria again in this screen at the moment. That's the university's main cafeteria. Around half of it maybe is on view in that photo. But in addition to that, it's like a mini city, really. Anything that you might need day to day is available on Sabancı University's campus. So there's a hospital with a 24/7 available ambulance for emergencies. There is a hairdresser, there's a bank, there's a supermarket, there is a post office, there is, a movie hall, a bookstore, etc., etc. So anything that you might need in your day-to-day life is very easily accessible. And we have like a shuttle network that is easy to get you, to different places in the city too, if you might be looking for anything that you don't have access to on campus. All our dormitories are on campus as well. We have around 3,000. This probably is a bit higher at this point even. This probably is around 3,500 perhaps capacity in our dormitories. Last year was the first year in the university's history that we were able to settle every single student in our dormitories, basically, that has obviously wanted to, since clearly, obviously, not every university student wants to stay in the dormitories. But they're guaranteed to international students regardless. So any international student always has a room available to them as long as they apply on time. There are different room types, 3 to 4 person rooms. The prices were updated recently. They're a bit higher than this at this point. I believe they tend to be around like $4,000 or $5,000 per year. But there's also a scholarship, of course, for the dorms. So we do support students that way as well. Now we can move on to the next one. We can skip this too. And so get to the actual detail, how to apply. So our applications are ongoing at the moment. They're going to be continuing for a little bit longer. We're going to be ending near the end of August. So basically, you still have, several weeks to be able to make your application. All our applications are online. Basically, there's an online application form that you guys need to fill out. You can use the QR code on the bottom left, to see the link. Or you can just, Google Sabancı University applications or go to our website, and from there you can find the link quite easily. We'll show you in a little while how to get to the website, how to get to the application portal. You only need to have, we don't require any kind of extra exam. So TOEFL, IELTS, these kinds of exams are not required. SAT is not required to be able to apply to Sabancı University. You can apply with just your high school grades. And we evaluate students these days quite frequently. So almost every week these days, we have an evaluation round. So if you apply, let's say tonight, you will most likely get a reply back from the university within a week, 10 days at most. So it's a quite, quick process. There is an application fee of $30. So to keep that in mind. But the system is quite easy to access. So it should be pretty easy to apply. And so the to be announced part is a bit outdated now. Obviously, our tuition fee is obviously announced by this point. As of this year, our tuition fee is $36,500 per academic year. It's payable in 2 installments, so 1 installment per term. There are different scholarships, of course, that are available, 25, 40, 50, 60, 75, 100% as tuition reductions on that tuition. So a 50% scholarship means that you pay half of it, basically. And there's a dormitory scholarship for especially our 3-person rooms that cover the full cost of the dormitory for the full education period. So you don't pay anything for the dormitories during your education time at Sabancı. These scholarships are valid, I should say, for the regular duration of the education. So that is 4 years plus the 1-year optional English prep school, which is easy to get exemptions from if you have a TOEFL score or an English exam score of that kind, Pearson TOEFL. But otherwise, we have our own exam that students take. If you pass it, you start your program directly. If you don't pass it, you take English courses for up to a year. And the scholarships are valid for this program's duration as well. As well as, of course, the dormitory scholarship. We evaluate every application for a scholarship. There's nothing extra that has to be done. And we do try to keep quotas open as much as we can, even through the end of the year. So we still do have scholarship availability on some of these levels. Some higher positions are a little bit more difficult to get a good scholarship in at this point, but especially the lower scholarship positions are still, available. And we, as I said, evaluate every single student, and we have an admission team that gets in touch with every applicant. So we would, we are very interested in learning about your requirements and so on and so forth, and trying to back those, or, match those as best we can. Obviously, this is not always possible, but it's a very thorough, very, close system that tries to really help students as much as possible. And I believe this is it for the presentation side. At the very least, you can find some contact information on the screen, our Instagram page, our YouTube channels, our phone numbers and email addresses. You can use the QR code to reach our Ask Us form, from which you can send us any questions that you might have. And I'm not sure if there are questions on the Q&A section, but I think let's just move on to those now and answer any questions that people might have. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chan. Let's continue with the Q&A session. And if you guys have any question, please write on the chat bar, so we will be able to answer your questions.
Yeah, there's a Q&A in the chat box at the bottom of the screen. If you guys have any questions, you can just let us know. Of course, if there's nothing, it's perfectly okay. We'll just wait a couple of minutes and give you guys some time. So there's a question about incoming students. So the question is, when should international students start to arrive to the campus before the orientation week? So we will be hosting other sessions to answer these kinds of questions as well. Just, informing you on that front, first of all. If you're a student who has already applied, who's gotten admission and so on, we will be providing more information on the subject soon. But usually that is around 8 to 9 days before the university opens. The university's opening date this year is the 29th of September. So most likely the suggested flight dates are going to be the 21st, the 20th and the 21st of September. As I said, we'll share much more detail about these topics in the upcoming couple of weeks.
And this session is live on YouTube channel. So if you already missed the beginning of this session, you can find the whole video on our YouTube channel.
Yes, I see that was Adijan in the chat.
So another question from Ridoy, probably he asked on the meeting chat bar, not question bar. Is Sabancı University public or private university, and when the admissions window open?
So applications are open at the moment, as we spoke about. They're going to be continuing until the end of August, basically. So there's still a couple of weeks. And the university is a non-profit foundation university. So that in essence means private, but it's a non-profit basically. So it's not a public university. I suppose there's not a lot of questions. So we could, in theory, close the meeting if we'll give you guys, as I said, like another extra minute maybe. But if there's nothing, I suppose we'll just call it.
Let me share the latest presentation once again. If you guys have any question, you can ask us through our email address, or you can call us directly. And don't forget to follow our social media accounts. You will find a lot of emails, a lot of videos, a lot of contents, student testimonials. Recently, we made a lot of videos with students, international students and Turkish students. We believe you will enjoy. And the students are explaining about the campus life, the opportunities, dormitories, and you will find a lot different videos.
So there are a couple of questions that I see. Moses asks if is a student eligible for admission to the university for the undergraduate programs if he or she already has an undergraduate degree. Yes, Moses, you can apply for an undergraduate program again, even if you already have a degree. Sometimes we do look at the application criteria. Of course, there's a evaluation process. So we consider a lot of different things during an application evaluation, but having an undergraduate degree will not lock you out of applying again. Absolutely not. Birhanu asks from Ethiopia about the application fee waiver system. So we don't officially have an application fee waiver system, but we do sometimes try to assist students who might be in need of application fee waiver. However, what we also do instead of like an application fee waiver, when you do go through the application system, you still upload your documents even before you make that payment. So our application representatives can go through your application and let you know, what are the chances of you getting a good scholarship even before you have made that payment. So we have your data now, we have your application number. Someone from our team will get in touch with you with regards to the application that you have started. I see that you mentioned that you want a full scholarship. We of course cannot get into that kind of conversation in this kind of webinar, but at the very least we'll try and go through your application and let you know the potential result of an application that you might have. You can also just send us an email with your documents on this email address that Mr. Hassan has mentioned a moment ago, and we can again reply similarly to the documents. If you can send us your high school grades and notes and so on, we can let you know the chance of you getting a scholarship. Amina asks what usually makes an application stand out. So of course, a lot of different things. Obviously, since we get a lot of applications and we're predominantly a research university, one of the highest ranking universities in the country, academic merit, like academic strength, that is the most major thing that we look at. So, good grades from whichever education model you have studied in. That is the thing that, helps us the most. That we look at the most. Certain international exams can help, especially to differentiate candidates from one another sometimes. So exams such as the SAT, for example, can be a benefit. These are not mandatory, but they can help. But outside of strong academic background, a strong academic background, I would say like extracurriculars basically. So any kind of different way that you can support your application, whether it be through club attendances that you have had in the past, or a letter of recommendation from a trusted teacher, a well-written statement of purpose, these kinds of things. And as I mentioned, we do get in touch with the applicants as much as we can. So there's going to be a back and forth between you and the application representative that is in touch with you. And oftentimes we also do interviews. So that communication is also sometimes quite impactful. So yeah, Basically, we have a very holistic system at Sabancı. So practically every aspect of your application can be made better. And we do try to focus on the good more than the bad. Let's just put it that way. Hoda asks, should we focus on learning the Turkish language before attending the university? So all of our programs are fully in English, Hoda. So you do not need to know Turkish at all. None of our programs are Turkish. Um, we do provide Turkish courses to students in studying in the university, so it is possible for you to learn Turkish within the duration of your education at Sabancı too. You don't really need to know Turkish at all to study at Sabancı, to live in the university, to benefit from the systems. But obviously, Turkey is Turkish is the main language of the country, so it can help to know a little bit if you're intending to move to Turkey. But as I said, for the university, not really. For education, not at all. And you can also just learn Turkish after arriving. So again, we'll take a moment to give you guys some time if you have anything else you're thinking of. Hassan, maybe in the meantime, we can show the application page, how to get to it.
Sure, let me open the website. So this is our application website, apply.sabancıuniv.edu. You should sign up this website with your verified email address, and then you will need to upload your all passports and all required documents such as your transcript, diploma if available, any additional supportive documents like SAT or IB certificate or motivation letter. And then you should submit your documents and pay the application fee. Then our regional representative will reach you and tell you if your documents are eligible or your scores do not meet our requirements or meet our requirements. And then you will receive your offer letter afterward. And this is our main website, iro.sabancıuniv.edu. On this website, you can see the apply link, and you can see our bachelor programs, how to apply, required exam document list, scholarship, tuition fee information, and frequently asked questions information.
All right. Thank you, Hassan, for showing the page as well. I don't suppose we have any other questions at the moment. We have a couple of new participants. If you guys want to ask any question, at the bottom of your screen, there's a chat function and a Q&A function. Through both of these, you can ask questions. As Mr. Hassan had mentioned earlier, to anybody who has missed the beginning of this presentation, this video, there's a recording of it on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it from there if you want to, catch up on the part that's, the beginning part. But if you have any questions, please use the Q&A function or the chat function at the bottom. And again, if there's nothing, I suppose in a little while, we'll just close it. Right, I suppose we can slowly finish the presentation in this case. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. It was, very nice to answer a couple of questions. Hopefully, we'll see you on the campus, and if, or on the application system, if you haven't applied already. And the guys, do you want to say any parting words before we close?
Thank you so much for attending this webinar. Hope to meet you soon on campus personally, in person. There will be a huge orientation week and seminars and after parties and events. So you are welcome to visit on campus anytime before, so you can see the campus opportunities, the dormitory rooms. If you have any time to visit our campus in Istanbul, you're always welcome during the weekdays. Thank you so much.
Okay, hope to see you soon.
Thank you for joining, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much
Bye-bye.
for joining the session. Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice weekend.